Hello children, welcome you all for another interesting English lesson on Chillow's on English channel. Hope you all stay safe at home. I think you all are ready to start the lesson. Before start the lesson, dear children, make sure you have your textbook, writing book and a pen with you. Okay. To start my lesson, I am going to focus your attention on the following two sentences. Let's read the first one. My mother cleans the kitchen. My mother cleans the kitchen. This is what my mother usually does every day. This is what my mother does usually every day. So let's see the second sentence. I'll read it to you. The kitchen is cleaned by my mother. The kitchen is cleaned by my mother. Here you can see there are two sentences. These two sentences give you the same idea. These two sentences convey the same idea. But what can we notice? The word order or the structure of those two sentences are different. That means both the sentences are different in structure. In English language, we have two types of sentences. The first one, active voice. Second one, passive voice. So today, I'm going to teach you how to make passive voice sentences by 5 steps. That means you are going to learn how to make passive So we are going to identify the active structure. This is an active voice sentence. Let's see. My mother is the subject in this sentence. Cleans is the verb in this sentence. The kitchen is the object in this sentence. My mother is the subject. cleans is the verb. The kitchen is the object. So now you know the active structure. This is the active structure of this sentence. Subject, verb, object. Let's move on to the second step. Move the object to the subject. What is it? Move the object to the subject. Let's see how to do it. The same sentence I have taken here. My mother cleans the kitchen. Now you have already found what is the object in this sentence. What is it? The kitchen. The kitchen is the object in this sentence. Now I am going to move this object to the subject position. I am going to move this object, the kitchen, to the subject position. Can you see the word kitchen I have placed in the subject position? Yes, I think. Okay. I'm going to give you a small activity. I ask you to keep your writing book with you. Then open your writing book. Open your writing book. Put number 1 to 5. Put number 1 to 5. Okay. Then you must try to find the object of this each sentence and place them in the subject position. What you are to do is you have to find the object, identify the object of these each sentences and place them in the subject position. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Quickly do. Let's see what you have written there. Quickly do it. Okay, good. Okay, children, I think I have given you enough time to do the task. Shall we discuss? Shall we check what you have written? Okay, let's read the first sentence. Nidhu makes a cake. Then what is the object here? A cake. See whether you have identified this object. Then what you are to do next? You have to take it to the subject position. Don't forget, you have to make A capital because you are going to start with that word. You are going to start the lesson, start the sentence with that letter. Let's move on to the second one. Father buys a newspaper. What is the object here? A newspaper. Now you take it to the subject position. Once again, I would like to remind you that A should be capital. Then move on to the third one. They built 2 houses. What is the object? 2 houses. If you take it to the subject position, it should be like this. Then the fourth one. She prepares the meal. She prepares the meal. The meal is the object here. Then you take it to the subject position. The last one. Farmer grows vegetables. Vegetables is the object here. Once again, you have to take it to the subject position. Now, you keep your book aside. පැත්තකින් තියන්න පුතේ පොත. Then, let's move on to the next step. What is it? Step 3. Identify the tense. Now you have to identify the tense of the active sentence. So, to identify the tense of a sentence, you have to look at the verb in the sentence. The verb indicates the tense of a sentence. In this sentence, my mother cleans the kitchen. Clean. Cleans is the verb and it is in simple present tense. It is in simple present tense. By this time, the grade 8 students should know how to identify simple present tense. So I think you all know it. Let's move on to the next step. Now you know the tense of the verb sentence. So we are going to change the verb of the passive sentence. What is the tense of the active sentence? It is simple present tense. So in this step, you are going to change the verb of the passive sentence. Let's see. Remember, in every passive sentence, the verb contains a be verb plus past participle of the active verb. I'll repeat it to you. In every passive sentence, verb contains be verb plus past participle of the active verb. This is very, very important. Then be verb. Be verb we can modify be verb to change the tense. According to the tense, we have to change be verb. For example, for simple present tense, we are talking about simple present tense. So, for simple present tense, we use am, is, are. Then you may think, why these am, is, are? 3 words are there. Then I'm going to explain it to you. If I is the subject of the passive sentence, you have to use am. If the subject of the passive sentence is singular, you have to use is. If the subject of the passive sentence is plural, you have to use are. So now you know how to select the be verb according to the new subject. Then you have to add past participle of the active verb. Can you remember the verb in the active voice sentence? It is clean. It is cleans. So what is the past participle of the active verb? It is cleaned. The past participle of the active verb is cleaned. Now, you know the kitchen is the new subject. So, depending on the new subject, you have to think about the be verb. The kitchen is singular. So there you have to use is plus past participle of the active verb is cleaned. Okay, I think this step is clear to you. Let's move on to an activity. Let's see whether you can understand. You have got the idea of those two steps. What are they? Identifying the tense and changing the verb. Once again, take your book, open it. Your writing book, you have written these words, I think. A cake, newspaper, a newspaper, two houses, the meal, vegetables. You have written those words. Now look at these sentences again. Netu makes a cake. Father buys a newspaper. They built two houses. She prepares the meal. Farmer grows vegetables. Try to identify the verb and the tense. Then you have to change the verb according to the new subject. You have to construct the passive verb. And also, look at this table. Base form, past participle. I think this will help you to do this task because I have given you the base form of the verb, past form of the verb, and the past participle form of the verb. I want to stress it. You should use not the base form, not the past form, but you have to use the past participle form here. Okay, I will give you another 2 minutes to write down the verb, passive verb. Quickly do it. Okay, I think you all have finished now. Let's see. The first sentence. What is the verb? Makes. Now you know we are discussing about simple present tense. So makes is in simple present tense. So you have to decide the be verb. A cake, depending on the new subject. A cake, singular. Then you have to use is there and past participle of make. What is it? In that grid, you can see past participle verb for make. It is made. So your answer should be is made. See whether you are correct. Let's move on to the second one. Father buys a newspaper. Now you know what is the verb here? It is buys. It is also in simple present tense. Then look at the new subject, a newspaper. Then what is the helping verb that you are going to use there? It is singular. As it is singular, you have to use is once again. Then what is the past participle of buys? Look at the table given. It is brought. It is bought. Then what is your answer? Is bought. Then move to the third one. They built 2 houses. Then what is the verb build? Then it is also in simple present tense. Then look at the new subject, 2 houses. So it is plural. There you have to use are plus past participle of build. It is built. So your answer should be are built. She prepares the meal. There, the verb is prepares. It is also in simple present tense. What is the new subject? The meal. It is also in singular form, so you have to use is there. What is the past participle verb of prepare? It is prepared. So your answer should be is prepared. Last one. What is the verb? Grows. What is the new subject? Vegetables. It is in plural form. So there you have to use are plus the past participle verb form of grow. It is grown. Then are grown. See whether you have got all correct. Let's move on to the fifth, the last step. The subject of the active sentence. That means we have already discussed the object and the verb in the active sentence. Now we are moving to the subject. Let's see. My mother cleans the kitchen. Here, my mother is the subject. Now you know. Then the subject is the doer or the agent of the passive voice sentence. Subject of the active sentence is the doer or the agent of the passive sentence. So, we can include the subject in a by phrase after the passive verb. We can include the subject of this active sentence in a by phrase after the passive verb. Look at this. Now, it is very familiar to you now, I think. The kitchen is clean. What we have already written, these two parts. Now I'm going to include the subject of the above active voice sentence. What is it? My mother. I'm going to include it in a by phrase and place it after the passive verb. What is the passive verb here? Is cleaned. So now we have already written the passive voice sentence from a given active voice sentence. I'll read it to you. The kitchen is cleaned by my mother. Let's try another important point to remember. There is another important point to remember when you write the by phrase. What is it? Look at this sentence. She cleans the kitchen. Earlier, I wrote my mother cleans the kitchen. Instead of my mother, I have written she here. It is a subject pronoun. She is a subject pronoun. Let's see. I have put it into passive voice. I have put it into passive voice. The kitchen is clean by her. She becomes her. The subject pronoun becomes an object pronoun. The subject pronoun becomes the object pronoun. She becomes her. I think this grid will help you to understand it. You just look at the grid. There are two columns, subject pronoun and the object pronoun. He becomes him, she becomes her, I becomes me, we becomes us, you become you the same, it becomes it the same, they become them. Okay, I think this point is also clear to you. Let's move on to another activity. Now, take your writing books again. Now you have written a cake is made, a newspaper is brought, 2 houses are built, the meal is prepared, vegetables are grown. Now you are going to add the by phrase. Okay. I'll give you another 2 minutes to do that. Do it quickly. Good. You have done it. Very good. Okay, I think you have already finished writing, adding the by phrase. Shall we discuss? In the first sentence, what is the subject? Netu. Then you are going to add it after the passive verb as a by phrase. What is it? By netu. Move on to the second one. A newspaper is bought. Then what is the subject of the active sentence? Father. Now you are going to add it to the passive sentence as a by phrase. By father. In the third sentence, what is the subject? They. Then you are going to add it in a by phrase. How do you add? By them. Now you know the subject pronoun becomes the object pronoun. Next one. She, the subject in the fourth sentence, active voice sentence is she. It is the subject pronoun. Then how to add it in the passive voice sentence? You have to use the object pronoun there, then by her. The last one. Farmer is the subject. So you are going to add it as a by phrase, by farmer. See whether you have got all the sentence correct. A cake is made by Netu. A newspaper is bought by father. 2 houses are built by them. The meal is prepared by her. Vegetables are grown by farmer. Okay. Now we are going to practice all the 5 steps together. Let's see. I'm going to take one sentence here. Sam writes a letter. Sam writes a letter. Then what is the first step? You have to identify the object. Object is a letter. Then what is the second step? You have to move it to the subject position. Now you can see the second step. Let's see the third step. You have to identify the tense. Then you are to look at the verb in the active sentence. What is it? Writes. So it is in simple present tense. So what is the fourth step? Now you have to change the verb. Let's see. A letter is written. A letter singular. Then you have to use is there. Then what is the past participle verb of write? It is written. Then is written. This is the final step. You have to add the by phrase. A letter is written by Sam. I hope it is clear to you. Let's move on to another one. She advises him. And I have given once again that grid, the table, then it will be helpful for you. Step 1, she advises him. Then what is the object? Him. Then you have to take this object to the subject position. Then the object pronoun becomes the subject pronoun there. Let's move on to the third step. It is identifying the tense. It is also in simple present tense. Then the fourth step, he is advised, changing the verb. You change the verb here, is advised. Why is there? Because he, the new subject, is singular. Okay, let's move on to the fifth one. You have to add the by phrase. He is advised by her. Then you look at she. The subject pronoun has become the object pronoun her. Let's move on to another sentence. Mike plays a game with friends. Mike plays a game with friends. This sentence is a bit longer than the other one that we have already discussed. මේ sentence එක ටිකක් දිගයි අනිත් ඒවට වඩා. There you have to identify the object. How to identify the object here? What is the object I have underlined? A game. Then how can you identify the object? Direct object is who or what receives the action of the verb. That means you make a question like this. Mike plays what? A game. Mike plays what? A game. Answer is a game. So it is the direct object here. So you have to take it to the initial position, means subject position. Step 3. Then what is it? Identifying the tense of the sentence. It is once again simple present tense. Fourth one, change the verb. A game is played. Step 5, you add the by phrase. A game is played by Mike with friends. You have to add the last part or the rest of the sentence at the end, or else you can write it like this. A game is played with friends by Mike. Okay. Let's do this activity to see whether you have understood the lesson well. You have understood those 5 steps well. අපි බලමු දැන් මේ activity එක කරලා ඔයාලට තේරුම් ගියාද කියපු 5 steps. Okay, before that, before you fill in the blanks, look at these verbs given in your right hand: repair, protect, paint, catch, and clean. Then try to write down the past participle of those verbs first. After that, we will do filling. Okay, once again, I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. You just write the words only. No need to write all the sentences. ඔක්කොම sentences ලියන්න එපා. Only the answer. Shall we discuss? Okay. Repair. What is the past participle verb? Repaired. Protect. Protected. Paint. Painted. Catch. Caught. Clean. Cleaned. Okay, let's see the sentences now. අපි බලමු sentences කොහොමද කියලා. The car is singular, then you have to use is there. The car is, what is the given verb in the bracket? Repair. Then the car is repaired by him. And then the second sentence, the children, it is plural. So you have to use are. The children are protected. Next one, third one, the picture, singular. Then you have to use is there. Then the picture is painted by Joe. And the fourth one, the thief. Once again, singular. Then you have to use is there. The thief is caught. Last one, the windows. It is plural. So you have to use are there. Are cleaned. Now you have complete. You have completed the activity now. Now in your textbook, page number 69, 69 වෙන පිටුවේ activity 6.7. Activity 6.7. Read this passage and find the passive voice sentences. So I'm going to read it to you. You read after me and try to find the passive voice sentences in this passage. A day in the life of a newsreader. What is the life of a newsreader like? To say the least, it's hectic. I always work with tight deadlines. But I love to Okay, let's read it. But I love the challenge it provides. I meet so many interesting people every day. I start my day at 7 in the morning and work till about 10 in the night. I get no breaks. during the breaking news. Sometimes I am given only half an hour to collect information and go live for the newscast. Editing and writing is done within a few seconds. I often have opportunities to work with extraordinary people. Politicians and celebrities are also interviewed by me. With all this work, sometimes the letters and emails sent to me are also answered by me. Every day is different and new to me. Okay, quickly underline the passive voice sentences. Quickly do it. Let's discuss the answers. I am expected to be well dressed. I am given only half an hour to collect information and go live for the newscast. Next one, editing and writing is done within a few seconds. Politicians and celebrities are also interviewed by me. The letters and emails sent to me are also answered by me. Okay. I think this is the end of the lesson today. I hope you all follow those steps and try to understand how to make passive voice sentences from active voice sentences. Let's meet in another lesson. Thank you for your cooperation. Goodbye, children.